It Takes a Team podcast, episode 3. We got a big one. We got Andre, the Asian sensation, Soukhamthath in studio. He took a break from fight camp to come up and talk to us. Obviously, my co-host, Brendo, he's here. But before we get into any of that, you see the pink balloons behind me? We had the baby reveal. We're having a girl, me and my wife. So we're last and final member of the family is going to be a girl. So now we're just hunting down what we want to pick for names. But it was exciting, even though Calvin broke that news last show.
And congrats to you having your third kid. Found out today. Shout out Tyson, Chartier, and Sarah.
Well, it's not public, so.
Well, I just announced your
Calvin. So we get the pink balloons here to celebrate. But Andre, up here from Rhode Island.
What's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm feeling good for my fight. And fly out in 2 weeks exactly. So I'm really excited for that. Just living the dream, man. Blessed.
So for those of you that don't know, Andre will be fighting on April 13th in Atlanta at UFC 236. Big fight for him. This will be your sixth fight in the UFC?
My sixth fight in the UFC,
yeah. And he's fighting Montel Jackson.
Montel Jackson.
Big fight. We're excited, man. How's camp going?
Camp's going good. First week here is always a little rocky for me. I'm emotional. I'm cold. I'm not used to the cold weather. Even though I'm from Rhode Island, I've been living in Florida for 5 years, so the cold was different. When I landed, I started shoveling right away, like twice, 3 times, and I wasn't used to that, and I miss my family, of course, and it's just adjusting, the first week or two, and the training, the work gets done, but I feel like at this point, like, my weight is great, I'm feeling like a beast, and now I'm ready to go.
So for those of you that don't know, Andre grew up, he'll get into this, but he grew up in Rhode Island. He does live down in Florida now, but his last couple camps, he's been coming up for 5 to 6 weeks to train in Rhode Island with, your original coaches.
Exactly.
And, so you end up leaving your family behind.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll get into that more, but so that's what he's saying when he gets up here for camp. He does live in Florida, but does his camps in Rhode Island. But Brendo, are you excited? You get your favorite fighter, Andre Soukhamthath, the Asian sensation, in studio.
My brother.
I am so pumped, and he's only like a foot away from me.
You guys have done a couple fight weeks together. Moncton and Vegas.
And Vegas.
That's where you guys originally met. And you guys seem to hit it off. Obviously, he's got, I don't know if it's a bro crush or if it's just an adoration for you, but...
I think I started crushing on him first.
No, I don't think so. No.
I think for the first week you called him Brendo.
I was like, Brendo the whole time.
Yeah. I'm like, it's Brendo, even though it technically should be Brenda.
No, that's not how it works.
So,
you know what? Brendo was cool. Like, he was quiet like the first 3 days, 2 days that we met, and then like, I noticed that when I started cutting weight, the night of the weight cut, I need help and stuff. And Brendo was like the first one to grab towels and to help me out the jacuzzi and the sauna. So after that, I was just like, wow, this guy's really cool. And that really stuck to me. And that's how we all just I consider him a friend. So that's how we became friends.
Thanks, man.
No, thank you.
Now Brendo has 2 friends, me and Andre.
Yep. I'm working my way up.
So let's get into your background a little bit. Obviously we mentioned you're from Rhode Island, live down in Florida now. Tell us a little bit about your family, how you got into MMA, where you grew up, just kind of whatever you want to say.
So I'm from Rhode Island, born and raised. I spent my first, till I was about 15. I was born in Providence, living in Providence, and then my mom, she actually wanted to move closer to her work, so we ended up moving to Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and that's where I kind of, I went to high school and things like that. When you're in high school, you kind of like are figuring out who you are and stuff, and I've always been athletic. I've always played soccer. I've always played basketball my whole life. Played for high school. Played throughout middle school, elementary school. So, I was always an athlete, and I love sports. That's the kind of kid I was. It kept me out the streets, and that's what my father always wanted. He didn't want me just wasting my life on something. So he made sure he put me in sports, and I'm glad he did that.
So you grew up in Rhode Island with your both your parents?
Both my parents, yep.
William-
I'm the oldest of 4,
Okay.
so I'm a big brother also. And my background is Laos, Laotian, which is, there's a lot of Laotians in Rhode Island.
I would say you're the older brother. You're definitely not the biggest.
I'm,
You have a
I'm
younger brother
definitely
who's a
not
giant?
the biggest. My little brother is a giant. He's 15. He's 285, 6'2" to 3", and even my middle brother is getting bigger than me too. So I'm like the smallest brother, but the oldest.
There you go.
Question is though, can you still beat them both up?
I can definitely fight my middle brother, but my big brother, I said my big brother, my youngest brother Patrick, he's, like I said, the big guy. He's a football player and he's wrestling now.
Oh.
And he's always had hands, so, oh man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
I think anybody who takes a look at your Instagram sees that you're a big family man. Like, you got Benson and Parker, your wife Jamie, adorable little family. You guys are always taking pictures down on the beach and stuff like that. I guess tell us a little bit about, Jamie, and we'll have Jamie on here later, but, Jamie, your wife, and then your 2 kids. I know, obviously, I can't imagine, leaving 5 or 6 weeks. It's got to be tough.
It's so tough. Yeah, I'm also a husband and I'm a father. I've been with Jamie for 12 years now, and counting. And we've been through a lot, man. We've been through a lot. People would see my Instagram and stuff. We got the house. We're living in Florida. We're on the beach, and I'm in the UFC. And but it took a lot to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have 2 boys now, Benson and Parker. Benson's 6 and Parker is 3. He's a little beast. They're the greatest things, man, and I miss him. I miss him like crazy. But this is what I do it for. I do it for them. Do it for my family. It's crazy. The story's crazy. Like, I met Jamie. I had a whole bunch of scholarships, maybe 8 recruits. I was recruited by 8 schools for soccer in high school, and I was a senior at that time. I was living at a bachelor pad at that time, senior year, high school, having fun. And then my roommate at that time, he owned a restaurant, kind of a hangout spot where a lot of Woonsocket people just chilled. And Jamie's sister was working there that night, and it was the day of the Super Bowl. And I think the Chicago Bears, they played somebody, Patriots or something, I'm not sure, Indiana. And I always knew who Jamie was because she was Miss Teen Rhode Island.
Okay, Jamie.
And I always had a little crush on her. She's older than me, So I kind of hit on her. I was just joking. I asked her mom. I was like, "Hey, you should let me take your daughter to prom." And her mom was like, "Why don't you ask her yourself?" And I was just and that was kind of a insight to her. And then we just started talking, man. And then, I didn't think she was interested. Honestly, I was just trying to be a cool guy, trying to get the Miss Teen Rhode Island, trying to get her number and stuff. I did get it. And one day, it was my senior game at a basketball in high school. It was my senior day game, my basketball game. And I'm all pumped up. It's my last home game. I'm a senior. And then I'm running out. And I'm telling my friends about this college chick that I just met, all my teammates. So they're all pumped up too. And then I walk out and and I look to my left and she's right there smiling. I'm just like, what? She didn't even tell me she was coming. I just told her I had a game and she showed up. So I was just like, maybe she likes me, And then she's always been my fan, man. Even from that game, from that day, I saw her in the stands. She barely knew me, and she was just cheering her butt off for me. When I was in the game, when I wasn't in the game, she was cheering for the team, and we won that day, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
so that's kind of how we met.
Yeah. You needed a special pickup line on her to get her number?
I went to her mom.
There you go. That's funny. Now, Jamie's the best. So for those of you that don't know, Jamie, she managed your whole career, your whole MMA career. She's played a huge active role, hands-on. pick all your fights, do all your, like everything,
Yeah.
everything that a fighter needs for handling. She's been there from day one, and you know, you guys brought me on the team a little over a year ago, and me and Jamie, you know, work closely together and stuff. But it's like just seeing the connection that you guys have and how much like. Obviously, she's your wife. She cares about you, but
Yeah.
she's also competent. Like, there's a lot of wives that care about their husbands who fight, but you just gotta like not listen to anything they say just because they don't necessarily understand it or they're, you know, thinking about the wrong things. Like Jamie has done a tremendous job with you, so it's cool being part of that. And even when me and Brendo were going out to Vegas, you know, for the UFC 222, the O'Malley fight, we were on our way out, and I was like, you know, me and Jamie talked about it on the phone, but I'd never really hung out with her in person. I was like intimidated by it. I was like, hey man, just be on your best behavior around Jamie because she scares me. You know? But it's just because there's no nonsense. Like, she's like, this is what I need done for my husband, but also for the fighter. And I told Brendo that week, I mean,
I was scared. I was absolutely scared. She's the most intimidating
That's
person you'll
funny.
ever meet.
so we got there, but then the minute we started hanging out with her, I was like, oh no, she's just like very direct. And there's a lot of
Yes.
similarities between, like, I would say her and my wife Sarah. Like, Sarah can be kind of intimidating over text, and like some of my fighters are a little scared of her. But it's like when you're with her, it's not like that. She's just like, oh, here, you know, she's gonna hit you over the head with a sledgehammer via text.
Yeah.
Then she's gonna hug you in person.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
yeah.
it's just
She's
been
very,
cool.
especially in my career, she's very protective over it. She's seen a lot of people get, you know, taken advantage of. Even me at times, we've gotten taken advantage of together, and she just had enough, you know, when it came to local promotions, to sponsorships, to anything. And especially her handing me over, you know, because she managed me for 10 years, and, you know, going into the UFC, she was still my manager, handling everything. And, you know, where her handing me over to you, you know, to then be my agent and manage me, she had to be direct, and she had to make sure that I was taken care of. But, you know, we both knew your history, and we both know that you're an honest guy, and that's why we went with you. So we had no doubts about you. It was just, listen, this is the way, you know, we do things, and what we're used to. And yeah, she could be very direct.
She's
and
a
timely. She's a
amazing.
businesswoman, you know?
Yeah.
She's good at it.
No, she's amazing, and I don't even look at it as like a hand because she's still very much involved. Like, I think it's a collaborative effort, and we really do, like, you know, tag team certain things, and there's certain things where I ask her opinion, and I think vice versa, and I think there's a professional level of respect there, but I think there's also like a friendship now. Like, you know, we have your
absolutely.
best interest in mind, and, you know, Brendo's still scared of her.
No, I think she's darn near the nicest person I've ever met.
Well, you know, it's such a strong bond. You know, she's probably she's probably the biggest person on my team. You know, Team Soukhamthath, this whole fight thing. Like, she knows what I've been through to be here. You know, like, and, you know, when you have a wife, when you have a significant other, yes, I mean, their support means the world. You know what I'm saying? But the way she supported me, it's not like, oh, I support Andre with his fight, and, you know, he goes and train. No, she supported me from day one. Like, I always had to take the job that paid less because it worked around my hours that I can go and train. You know, I had to stay after practice at the gym for like 2-3 hours after, because that was my way of paying tuition. So that was a job for me too. You know, I didn't just mop the mats. I had to clean the bathrooms. I had to clean the walls. I had to vacuum floors, you know, and I'm very thankful for that. I did that for like 3 years, and she understood that, you know. When I didn't have money, she had the money to back me up. So, like, when I say supported me, she didn't just like support me. She sponsored me. She supported me. She managed me. You know, she believed in me, and that's why, you know, she's a big part of why I am where I am today. You know, and I'm very thankful for that. But
yeah, no, she's awesome, and I think that's one thing we've seen, like a trend that I've mentioned this before with some of the most successful fighters that I've had the privilege of working with, is they do have like a solid foundation, whether it be like a really supportive parents that, you know, if they're younger or whatever and they still live at home, or a wife or a girlfriend that really carries that burden. You know, a lot of times it ends up being the financial burden where you're chasing your dream.
For sure.
You're not going to make it, for you to accomplish that goal of getting to the UFC and like winning fights. you can't be working full time.
No.
Some people do it, but
It's very tough.
It's a lot more fruitful if you're able to take that time, focus on your craft, get better. Like you said, it might be taking that job that makes a lot less money, but your skills getting better. So in the long run, you're going to make more money and you're going to accomplish those goals. But it really does take someone like Jamie to have your back to allow that stuff to happen.
For sure.
So I think that's, you know, and like I said, we're going to have her on in a little bit. We'll Skype her in. She's just fresh back from China. So it'll be good to talk to her. But another member of your team that I think is a really cool story is William, your dad.
Yeah.
He's honestly, he's super entertaining, number one.
Yes.
Just talking to him.
Everyone loves him.
So I go into I know he's your coach, he's your dad, he's your corner, you know, he's your friend, but I kind of, you know, touch on him a little bit.
Oh man, my dad's been training me since I started too. You know, when I told him that I wanted to be a fighter, ever since I was little, I always wanted to go to the boxing gym. You know, he would never take me because he was like, "No, you're too handsome for that." You know, and I don't want you getting hit in the face. But when I finally took it upon myself to, you know, join the MMA gym, I was like, "Dad, you know, this is what I want to do." And he was just like, "All right, I'm gonna go in the gym with you. We'll see how good you are." You know, kind of like.
And what was his background?
Muay Lao and Kempo karate. He used to fight growing up in the refugee camps during the Vietnam War. You know, so he would go. You know, he had to live in Thailand for a little bit in the refugee camps, and that's where he kind of learned how to fight, learn the martial arts, and he's always been a lifelong martial artist. So you know, he went to go watch me practice one day, and he was just like, you know, could I help you with some of your kicks and stuff? I was just like, yes, you know, because he did teach me how to fight a little bit when I was younger, just to defend myself. And then I just brought him on board, you know, and he didn't really know how to hold pads or anything at that time. You know, this was all new to him because he was more traditional. But as years went on, he evolved, and obviously it made me a better fighter too, because I'm a striker, and you know, my knees, my elbows, my kicks, they all come from him, his Muay Lao system. So, you know, I'm grateful to have him on the team. He'll literally do anything for me. Anything. I could tell him to do, like, and he'll do anything. He'll drop the phone and he'll go and do it for me. You know, so I'm very thankful to have a father like that, you know, supports me that way. It wasn't always easy. You know, when I was younger, we used to butt heads a lot. There was a time we didn't talk for a year because of this fight and stuff. But I think, you know, now that I'm older and he's older and, you know, we're both kind of more evolved, it's just like, let's get the job done. Let's win this fight. And let's get, you know, let's do the best we can with this.
And you said he started fighting when he was in the refugee camp.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit more background on that?
So, you know, the reason I'm here is because my parents, they're both come from Laos. They had to escape the Vietnam War. So my dad, he had to leave his mom because, you know, Laos was getting bombed. Laos is actually the most bombed country in history in the world from the Vietnam War. So when, you know, when they had these extra bombs, they would just, Vietnam is right near Laos, and they didn't want to drop it in Vietnam, they just drop it in Laos. So there's still like bombs that can go off that people get hurt from, you know, because they don't know it's there, it's in the grass, and some kids will be running, and then boom, you know, the bomb will explode. What are those things called? Like, those things, like, it's sensors.
Oh, a trigger? Or,
yeah, it's like a...
Like landmines or something?
Yes, landmines, exactly. And there's still, like, hundreds of thousands of them in Laos. And, yeah, so, you know, his mom wanted him to escape the war, so he escaped the war, and the only way to survive was to swim the Mekong River. He swam the Mekong River, and he made his way to a refugee camp. You know, they feed you, they shelter you, stuff like that, and that's kind of where he learned how to fight. Similar thing with my mom. My mom, she was born into like a servant family, you know, a family that served other family, and one of the family that she was serving fell in love with her. She was like 4 years old at that time, and you know, her mom, who was a head servant, she wanted a better life for her daughter. So when that family was going away to America, my mom actually had to leave her real mother and leave Laos, but that was her opportunity to go to the United States. So she had to leave her real mother and chill with her foster mother, who's they all in Rhode Island. I consider them real blood family too, and that's kind of how I was born. And my mom and dad met here. So.
And you also said that your dad, he fought when he was younger. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like he was a trainer until he started training you.
He's always trained people because they wanted to learn like martial arts, just like like karate style, kempo style, the forms and stuff like that. Like I used to see him train people in my backyard, but he never really went that hard into it, like cornering fights and stuff like that. That was all new to him.
Mm.
So.
And then he had to learn how to hold pads when you started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We kind of just all learned together,
I think I was watching the Vietnam documentary on Netflix. I think it was Netflix, and it was mentioning Laos, and you kind of read up on it. You just see how crazy that whole era was. So then when you were telling us that your dad, like that's how he escaped, I'm like, oh, man, I can't even fathom. We've never had to deal with anything like that here.
Yeah.
So I can't even fathom. So then when you see him, he's like the happiest, most appreciative guy. But obviously that probably plays something into it. It's like he's seen the other side, and then now he's here. And man, it's just cool. I remember we were in Moncton back in October when you fought, and seeing him warm you up. Like he seemed nervous too, but you see like he's also proud.
Yeah.
Like it was cool. Just us being dads now, we look at our little kids, and obviously we're proud of them, but like. Seeing how proud he was, like to be there with you, and he put the jacket on that had the Laos flag, and it's just cool. And then when you were about to walk out, and I had taken a couple of pictures from behind, and you have like a Laos American flag, like one half's American, one half's Laos.
Sure.
And I took pictures, and you had flipped it, so I got a picture of both flags, like right in the tunnel about you, your dad, and Pete about to walk out, and it was just cool seeing him like take your hands, warm you up, and just seeing like the father-son bond, and then doing this at the highest level together. And then thinking about, where he actually came from and now what he's doing now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. And, he's so proud. I know he's so proud of me because I'm the first Laotian fighter to ever be signed by the UFC, first in history. So I'm the first ever to represent that flag into the octagon. And I know that that's a big one here for him.
Yeah.
So, it's cool.
And he'll be going out to Atlanta with you,
Yep.
cornering you again.
He'll be going out to Atlanta.
There you go, William. I'm excited to see you on the big screen. So to shift gears a little bit here, is we had Calvin on episode 2, and we were talking about how he has a key to the city.
Yeah.
But then he told us it was more of a
Like a proclamation.
He doesn't actually have a key, but I'm sorry, Calvin, because I think Andre actually does have a key to his home city.
I do actually have a key to Woonsocket.
What does it get you into?
You know what? There's not many things that go on in Woonsocket. It's kind of like a lot of people have that small town mentality. It's like they already gave up before they even tried, no matter what it was. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's financially or whether they had a dream, it's like they already gave up before they even tried. So, here I am, a kid coming out of Woonsocket. I like to represent Woonsocket because that's where a lot of my closest friends are. That's where that's where my son is buried. Like we'll get into that, and that's just home to me, and for me to come out of Woonsocket and do the things that I've done, I get signed to the UFC and give back to the community. I'll do speeches. I'll donate money to programs. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club in Woonsocket for like 6 years, and the mayor thought that I deserved the key to the city, and I took that as great honor, and that really means a lot to me because now I can show these, my resume, not to just show it off, but I could inspire these young kids that are coming out of Woonsocket like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. You just got to try. You just got to work hard. You just got to be dedicated, and you got to stay consistent. And if you have a dream, it can definitely come true.
Did they do like a ceremony, or how'd that?
Yeah, it was a night at CES.
Oh, I was there.
I think you were there, and I'm the first CES bantamweight champion also. So it only made sense that they they gave me the key to the city in that same cage that I won my first belt in.
Yeah,
So.
CES did. They loved you. You sold a lot of tickets. You always had
Yeah.
exciting fights. You got some good knockouts. You know, you took the belt, and then now you're having success in the UFC. You touched upon something that I wouldn't have brought it up, but you said your son Leandre, right? Is that
Leandre. Yep.
Obviously, that's a big part of who you are. Like me and you were kind of talking about this the other day, and he obviously had a big role into how you even got into fighting, which I think is a pretty interesting story.
He's the reason that I even found fighting. That's the crazy part. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had a bunch of recruits for soccer, right, in high school, and just to backtrack a little bit, Jamie got pregnant, so it ends up we're dating for a little bit after that basketball game, and she ended up getting pregnant like within 3 months of us dating, and I was just like, man, what am I gonna do? I was looking at like a bunch of schools, some in Boston, some in Florida, some even in Rhode Island, and I was just like, I gotta be a man. I gotta be able to provide for my family, so I gotta get up and get a job, and that's what I did. So I just kind of put school aside, put college aside. I got up, I got a job. I found a job at the Home Depot in Bellingham, Mass, and right down the street was that gym, US MMA, where I trained at for 3 years, my first 3 years of training. And, one of my friends invited me there one day, and then, while Jamie was pregnant, I went, I was just like, I'm not going to be playing soccer. I'm not going to be playing basketball. So I need to do something. Like I said, I was an athlete. I had to keep myself busy, stay in shape. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go try a class. I tried a class, and I've been hooked ever since, And that's the reason how I got into MMA. Because if my son if he wasn't ever born, I would have just probably went to school, played soccer, graduated with a degree, and who knows what I'd be doing. I would have never found MMA. And I didn't know that my son he passed away from a skin disease called epidermolysis bullosa. It's called EB. One out of every 50,000 babies get it a year. It's very rare. No one really knows about it. Even doctors and stuff at that time when we were going through a lot of things, they didn't even know about it. They didn't know how to treat it. Me and Jamie were actually the experts at treating my son. So when he was born, he had this little staph infection where people thought it was a staph infection on his butt, but it wasn't. We really didn't know what it was. It was just a piece of skin missing. And then the days went on, and then he'd get a new spot every day, and then about 3-4 months into this, we find out that he has a skin disease, and I'm like 18 at that time, 19, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so he has a little disease, we'll take care of it, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? I remember one day at work, and as he was getting older, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it was getting harder, and these wounds were getting worse. So I was at work one day, and I was like, I just started like doing some research on EB, and then I really studied it, and then I just like kind of like started crying. I was just like, wow, this is what I'm facing, this is what my son is facing, this is what he's going through. And he only lived for 9 months, but as it got worse, his toenails fell off. He didn't have no toenails, he didn't have no fingernails. And what happens with that disease is like, if you rub like your skin like that, it blisters up, and then what you have to do is you have to pop it, and then it turns into an open wound. So that open wound, you have to really take care of it, because what happens to the open wound, it gets infected. So as he got older, someone heal, and he'll be like, yes, we'll go see all these doctors, and we'll get hope. Me and Jamie will have hope, and then like, there'll be another wound that goes over that wound. It was just no cure for it, and there's still no cure, and my son just had enough, and he passed away at 9 months after, and and that's why I appreciate MMA so much, because that was like my church. That was my sanctuary. After he passed away, that's all I did. All I did was train. You know, I didn't have any fights or anything yet. I was nobody. I didn't even know how to throw a punch and kick the right way still. But all I did was train, and you know, it took my mind off a lot of things. And you know, I'm here now, and I feel like, you know, now I feel like I'm here for a reason, for sure. You know, so.
But
In relation to the EB disease, is that there's no cure, but are they making any strides with finding a cure?
It's like, it's tough, you know. Yes, they are. There's a lot of research that goes into it, but you know, there's different stages of it. You know, some people can live up to their 20s, 30s even with it. But he had the worst case, and what happened was the infection went internal, and you know, he just couldn't handle it. And I mean, there's some stem cell research stuff going on, you know, with the repairing of the skin and stuff. But I think it's gonna be a while. I mean, I hope they find a cure for it. But I know they're working on it. But it's tough, just like a cancer, or you know, these things that we have no answer for. It's tough.
it's wild because I had never heard of it until
Yeah.
you explained to me what it was, and I mean, there's so many diseases like that obviously it's a big known to you, but
Yeah.
now I know about it because you explained it to me.
For sure.
It's just, you know, obviously there's nothing I can say, you know.
No, man. I used to be very uncomfortable talking about it. I didn't talk about it for maybe, you know, when people come in and ask about my story, I'll tell them. I'll just tell them though. It'll make no sense. But now that I'm older and you know, time does heal things. You know, of course I'm still hurt a little bit every day, a piece of me missing. But I feel like the closer I am spiritually, the closer I get to God, to the Lord, I feel like the closer I get to my son. You know, and even throughout my UFC career, like, you see me go up and down, but I've never really been dominated. And that's because I was fighting for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? I had to adjust, and then that's why I wanted to come back home and do training camps up here, because it humbled me, it grounded me, and it made me revamp my focus to what was important, to why I am doing what I am doing, what got me here, why am I doing this. I feel like I'm here for a reason, you know, and I'm here to be great. I'm here to build a legacy, and that's because my son came into this world and introduced me to the sport of MMA, and now I truly believe that I'm here to do good things, you know, not just to fight, but that's just a platform. I want to help people that's been through what I've been through. I want to help people that you know, don't see any potential in themselves. I want to uplift them. I want to build their character and say, hey, you can do it too. No matter what you've been through, I've been through a lot of stuff too. You can do it too. So now I'm thinking different, man. I'm thinking different, and it's really helping me, training wise, and it's helping me focus, and I think it helped me get to the top.
I would definitely say, obviously, you know, he's a big part of your story. You
Yes.
know, obviously for your career it seems, but obviously for your family too.
Yep.
But I think in the last probably year and a half since we've really been working together, I've seen like a maturity in you where I think sometimes you tended to put others kind of in front of your career, or you kind of, like you said, it seemed like you were fighting for the wrong reasons. Like, I remember,
Absolutely.
this was, and I remember these things like vividly. Like, I remember in my old house before we moved like a year ago, in the office, like, and we'd have these like late night phone calls, me, you, and Jamie. Sometimes Jamie would be on, sometimes she wouldn't, and we'd just have a conversation about, you know, we were waiting to get a fight. We were waiting to find out, do we get another fight? And, you know, and it just kept getting pushed along. But I saw, like, it's almost like, and we've never talked about this, but it's almost like you went from being stressed about losing your job to wanting another fight to, like, hey, it's their loss if they don't give me a fight. And then you just, all of a sudden, it's like switch flipped. And then you became like, all right, I'm going to, ready. And we would talk, like, you know, I'd send you like a text in the morning and try to say, hey, man, like, let's get it today. You know, like, you know, I try to send you quotes every now and then. And I don't know if it was helping or not, but I just wanted you to know, you know what I mean? I just wanted you to know that, like, there's other people thinking about you, and there's other people that have a vested interest in wanting to see you succeed and accomplish your goals. And I just remember like getting like a different vibe from you on the phone one day, where all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is a different Andre.
Yeah.
And then shortly after is when we got that Luke Sanders offer on like really short notice. So it was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. It was
2 weeks. So Andre, you were 0-2 at that point in the UFC, and
2 split decision losses.
could have won both fights. And then Luke Sanders, who's no slouch, like he's a tough kid. And they're like, hey, do you want to
Sure.
go out to California and fight Luke Sanders? And there was obviously zero hesitation on your end. And you had already had a trip planned up here for some family stuff with
Yeah.
your, for Leandre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
you're up here for an
It was for
anniversary.
his anniversary, his birthday, November 22nd, and the fight was December 9th.
Yep.
Yeah, so we were up here for his 10th birthday, actually.
Yeah, so I remember that. You guys had that plan. So you got a little training in up here. Then you went down, crash course camp, and you went out there. And I remember me and Sarah were pregnant. We were having a baby soon, so I didn't go out to California for that. And I watched that we were at a holiday party, and I made him turn it on. We were doing like a Secret Santa. I think everybody that was at the party was super annoyed that I'm like making them watch MMA because they're not big MMA fans. So we turned it on, and they were like, "Which one's yours?" I was like, "Oh, it's the Asian kid, the one." And I was like, "Okay." So they, then they're cheering for you, but then
That's awesome.
Then the tough round was the first round was tough, and it didn't go our way. And me and some of your coaches are texting on the back. I'm like, "Oh, Andre needs to be more aggressive." We're saying this, and then you just that magical right hand where you step back and you just came over the top, and honestly, that punch it changed your life. But I think it also did a lot of things to. It validated that you belonged there. And I think it validated to you that you belonged there. Because I think up until that point, I think, I was sensing some doubt in your mind of like, you go 0-2 on split decisions. You feel like, oh, it's not fair, but I could have won. Why didn't I win? But then you got that, how many times did we talk about, Andre, we're going to get that win. We're going to get that first UFC win. Like those late nights. And it was like, I didn't get the knockout, but I felt like I did, I felt like, it wasn't, I think in terms of like, we got that knockout, it was I felt like,
And I love that,
It was just, and I was like tearing up. I was so happy that you got it. And Jamie was out there with you. And it was just so cool that, we said so many times on the phone, you're like, I just want to get my hand raised in the UFC. I know I can win at this level. Like, I can't go out like this, know? And then you got that hand raised, and it was just awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
I used to get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, but those are the reasons, like, I do it. Those moments, like, all those late night phone calls, all those, random motivational text messages, all those, like, conversations back and forth about what's next, what's not next, what do you think, and all
that goes a long way, man. Just to show that you care, you know what I mean? And I'll say, like, I've had bad experiences, feeling out other managers and stuff, but like just seeing from the outside how you treat your fighters, you're a family man, you're a good friend. I knew you before, but I saw how you treat your fighters, and you're really involved. It's not like you were just like calling people and go here, go there. No, you were involved. You fought before. You're training these guys, So I knew that there was a connection with you and your fighters, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it. When I was like, you know what, I told Jamie I want her to worry about her life and her job and the kids. I'm going to venture off and find a manager, an agent, because I don't want any more stress on her. And that's why I went with you, because like you're very compassionate, and that's what I was looking for. And it's cool, It goes a long way, those quotes and those talks. For sure.
Now, Tyson said that there was a point where all of a sudden your attitude changed. Do you know what happened around that time that made that attitude change?
I just decided that I'm going to be the boss now. I'm not. This is my career, and it's my family on the line. It's my life on the line. It's my whole legacy on the line. So it's like you either with me or you're not. It goes for teammates, friends, coaches, family. You either with me or you're not. This is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna take opinions. I'm gonna take advice. But if I don't actually take your advice, don't get hurt by it either.
So I think We got your wife Skyping in.
Yeah.
We got Jamie the boss.
There she is.
Who I'm not
What's
scared
up?
of anymore. She, I can't hear her. Jamie,
Hi, thank
hey.
you for having me.
Jamie,
What's up, baby?
Hi, guys.
you look great.
Thank you.
So Jamie, you're down in Florida right now, right?
Yes.
At your work, your office.
Yes. Fresh off the boat from China.
So you went there for work, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's wild. How was it?
It's always interesting.
So my wife told me the first thing I have to ask you is, how do you do it when Andre leaves for 5 or 6 weeks?
Mhm.
Like, how do you hold it down? Because I leave for a week, and Sarah's like, I'm ready for you to be back. The first couple of days, she's ready for me to leave. And then she's like, okay, I'm ready for you to come home now.
Yes. Well, just backing up a little bit, I think both Andre and I came from very humble beginnings. So we've learned to really appreciate each other, our goals, our life, our dreams. So, realizing what we need to do to get, food on the table, a roof over our head. I mean, we kind of do whatever we need to do to make it work. We have a lot of family members that are extremely supportive, and we fly them out to help raise our kids while we're both reaching our personal, professional goals.
And what is it that you do for work?
I work in biotechnology, and we create some clinical drugs for cancers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How much do you miss this little handsome devil?
Yeah, he's all right. No, the weeks apart are very, very long. It's a little easier for me because I'm so focused on what I need to do for business and the kids. But for the kids, and when they miss daddy, or they don't really understand, like, daddy, are you driving home now? Are you coming to my house? I think that's what hits the heart the most.
How are the boys doing?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Keeping them entertained while daddy's gone. Daddy's gonna come home with a win and with some big toys for them. So
That's what I always have to say.
yeah.
That Benson especially. Hey, Daddy, you fight the guy up yet? I'm like, no, I didn't fight him up. Well, when you fight him up, you're gonna get his money, right? Because that's why I tell him. That's why I gotta leave. When Daddy needs to fight the guy up, get money, so he can buy you and Parker a lot of toys, and we can go on a nice vacation. Oh, I want to go to Jamaica again. Oh, all right. I want to go to Disney World. Oh, okay. I said one vacation, but no, it's that's they know what I do. They've both been raised in the gym. They both, they're in their little crate while I'm training. I did that with both of them. So they know what daddy does for a job, and they know how, and when they get older, they will know that I did this for them. This is how I provide. I don't know anything else, man. I can do a lot of jobs and stuff, but like, this is what I want to do. I'm following my dream, and I'm just so blessed to be here. So if I want to do things, like I said, I want to do things my way, the right way, and the way I'm just following my heart. And I want to be as successful as I can doing this, and that's why it's such a big sacrifice. It's so hard, man. But the rewards, when you think about the future, it's gonna be worth it.
No, I think you guys are doing great. Like, it's cool to see, especially you guys been together since, well, when you were in high school. Jamie was in college. She's the college girl. It's just cool to see how tight you guys are. And I think you were listening earlier, Jamie, when I talked. But it's just cool to see not only how invested you are. Obviously, you're going to be invested as your husband, but like how competent and how far you're getting him, and how far you're still getting him, and how much you really do understand the sport. There's some of the wives kind of have an opinion, but that you can tell they don't really maybe understand it. But you got Andre to the UFC, and you got Andre a CES title. That key to Rhode Island is just as much yours as it is his.
Yeah.
And it's just cool seeing it, because I'm the same thing. Like we all have an agenda, we all have dreams, and you know, I'm trying to chase my dream in MMA too. That involves being part of all these other teams.
And that's awesome that your wife, you're gone like almost every weekend, you know. And
so I can
you're always on
appreciate
the
what you
road.
do because my
Yeah,
wife does the same thing. Like
it's
you know,
amazing. Yeah.
It takes. I couldn't do what I'm doing without my wife. So I feel like I 100% truly do appreciate like everything that you're doing for Andre. And I think as your kids get older, I think they're gonna see how much, because right now Daddy, fights him up, right? And he goes,
Yeah,
like,
just fight him up.
and you're home, but they're gonna see how much you do for Andre and like how much of an impact you had on his career. And they, not many kids can brag that their mom is the one helping their dad fight in the UFC. So I
didn't think of it like that.
it's pretty cool, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No, we've evolved together. We've gone through good times and bad times, but it is we've done it together. And when there was hard times, we worked through it. I mean, even like Andre touched base earlier, we've been screwed in the sport, no doubt about it. But taking that step back and not approaching it as like attacking someone else, being cool, calm, and collective. I've always kind of maintained a level of professionalism, which I think everyone sees, and I've always been honest. So sometimes when my honesty or my opinions come across, I can't help it, but I'm also a professional. So I think people respect that.
100%. So when Andre fights, you're always at the fights. Do you watch, or do you do like one of these things and kind of turn away? Like how do you react?
I'm very quiet, and I've walked out with him. I've been in the corner. I kind of take it all in. I don't corner him. I don't yell at him. I don't say, kick the guy in the ball. Like, that's not me. I've definitely just been by his side, and I kind of keep it professional the same, because from my eyes, other people are looking at me and how I react. So people want me to react in a certain manner, but I talk to him always in the back room. But yeah, I've always kept it calm.
What advice do you give Andre in the back before the fight?
I just tell him to do what he's trained to do, that he's ready. We usually say like a prayer together. I know what he's made for, and that's to win. And I know what he sacrifices to be where he is. So I'm confident, in him and his abilities every time he steps foot in the cage.
Thank you. Yeah.
We love you, Jamie. As far as the kids go, do they watch Daddy fight?
No, they do not.
Not yet.
I don't let them watch me live.
So you let on record just in case something. Like
Exactly.
blood or
Like I
whatever.
don't want to. Anything can happen. I can get knocked out, choked out.
Yeah.
Even if I just lose.
Yeah, you don't want that. Okay.
I don't want them to see the person they look up to the most, their hero, just in such a helpless position. You know what I'm saying? But I'll show them when I win.
There you go.
And they know it. Even if it's like an old fight, they always rooting for me. I know that.
That's awesome.
They're both pretty young. Do they train yet, or will they train when they're young?
You know what? They play around. Benson's taken a couple jiu-jitsu classes, and they have fun with it. If they don't want to do it, then I don't force them to do it. But the days that they want to do it, especially when they fight each other, they have these like trunks, these like Muay Thai trunks, and they have these gloves, and they like to put them on. Sometimes they put on their karate suits, and they put it on, and they'll fight me. They'll fight each other, especially the young one, Parker. He's probably gonna be a fighter. Like I don't want my kids to be fighters because I know the struggle, but that kid might be a fighter because he's just a beast. It's not that he loves it. He likes hurting his brother, and he likes hurting me. So he probably likes hurting people like in a sport way, But yeah, whatever they do, man, I'm gonna be like how my father was to me. Whatever I wanted to do, he supported it. But whatever you do, you better make sure you don't waste my time. You better make sure you go 100% with it. And if you want to do a whole bunch of things and just have fun, that's cool too. I'm cool with that too.
And it looks like they take after you a little bit. They both play soccer?
they both play soccer in the yard. You know, I'm just training him so that, you know, when time comes, like when I go back home, I'm gonna be signing them both up for a league, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe one will like it, maybe one will not. Maybe they'll both like it. But they love playing in the yard, so I just want to make sure they're ready so that when they join the league, they know what's going on.
And Jamie, you're also 100% Laos, right? Or Laotian?
No.
Laotian.
Laotian.
Yeah, Laotian. Mm-hmm. My father is Laotian.
Okay, so you're 50, and then some of the kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Because my wife was asking me that. She's like, "Is she also 100%?" I was like, I don't. I'm not sure, but
She's 50.
Yeah.
I know on your Instagram
Yeah.
you have the Laos flag, so I wasn't sure. But
Yeah.
you know, that obviously had to play a big role in you two connecting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Laos and Woonsocket, I mean, it's all so small. You know,
Yeah.
everyone knows everyone. So, you know, it was easy to connect.
And I was a new kid on the block too, because I didn't grow up there. So she was like, well, "Who's this guy?"
Do you remember him talking to your mom and asking about the problem?
Yes, I do.
Did he
And
like?
he has really terrible dance moves.
Show this one.
So did you end up going to the prom with him?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Oh, we gotta see a picture of that.
I gotta find it.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Sweet
great.
talker.
That's so funny.
There you go. And look at you now. What? 12, 13 years later?
Yeah, crazy man. 12
Yes.
years later.
Yes.
It's been wild. I think back to high school. It seemed forever ago. Well, obviously I'm a little older.
How long
but
were you with Sarah?
Me and Sarah have been together 6.5 years now.
Wow,
Yeah, so it'll be 7 years come September.
that's
So,
amazing.
and that's when we're having the
You guys, it goes by fast.
And 3 kids? No.
three.
2
Three
boys,
is wild.
1 girl.
Going to
Where did you
zone.
guys meet?
We met online.
Oh wow.
But the good thing
Really?
is, I'll say this, I was the first guy she met. So
Okay.
she wasn't tainted yet by online
That's what
dating.
she tells you.
Yeah, that's what she tells me. So yeah, so we met online, and then it was weird because she'll always ask me, she's like, well, why, you know, what do you love about me? I'm like, I don't know. Like I can't say like there's not a bunch of like, there's not a huge list. I just knew when I met you that you were the one. Like I
That's
couldn't tell you
awesome.
why, because
Yeah.
there's probably girls I met that were like easier to hang out with than her,
Watch
because she's very,
yourself.
yeah, I'm gonna be very
Yeah.
politically correct. She's probably staring at me through the glass. But it was just like, it's just a vibe you get, you know, when you meet that person. I'm sure you felt this when you met Jamie. Like you meet that person and you're like, all right,
You just get excited.
There's something different about this
Yeah.
one, and that's, you know, that's how it is. But it's hard to put into words like exactly what did I like about her better than someone else. I don't know, but I just know I liked you better.
Yeah.
And I know I
Yeah,
didn't
for a
wanna-
male, that it's just like a feeling. Like I'm
Yeah.
excited. I actually want to hang out with you. Oh, come hang out with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like you want to hang out with
When
them
most of the time
instead
it'd be
your boys.
like, I want to hang out with you on my terms. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's how you know that ain't real. But when it's like, yo, let's just hang out the whole day. Again, let's do it again tomorrow. Let's do it again next weekend. Then you know that, you know, there's something there for sure.
You're inseparable.
Yeah. Jamie, were you nervous about dating a younger guy?
Yes, I was very hesitant.
That he's gonna be a little player.
I was always older and mature and
I was a
more
little player.
established. And yeah, I mean, we and Andre joke about it all the time. I mean, I made him become a man so soon, you know, and obviously you know our history. So I mean, we grew up really fast, but yeah, I wasn't expecting a younger man.
Hey, you can't pass them. Can't
But
pass them
I
up.
will say it was like a huge pivotal moment in like our relationship. You know, once we went through everything with Leandre, and he got invited to come to Florida to train with the Black Stallions. I think that growing curve for both of us to get out of that small town mentality and for him to come and follow his dreams and us to start from scratch really made a huge difference in both our lives and careers.
That's true.
I think it's cool. Like you guys went down there with really nothing. When I don't want to say nothing, it's not my, you know.
Like
but that's you.
No, it was
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
It
You went
was
down there with
nothing.
like pennies, and you
Yeah.
just got your second house now. You just had a house built.
Yeah, yeah, man.
with the backyard. I know that was the
With
big deal.
the backyard, and yeah, it's man. Just,
Yeah.
when we moved to Florida, it was almost like I just started MMA again. Like I had to work these, like I was at the Boys and Girls Club for six years, so I was actually settled. I was making pretty decent money. My hours were great. And then I'm in Florida, and I had to literally start over. No connections, no nothing. So I had to go back to, like, I was getting, like, $14 an hour. Now I'm getting, like, $9 an hour doing the same exact job, you know? And I had to eat that. She had to eat that, too, with her job. And we had to slowly make our own connections. We did everything ourselves, you know? Like, you know, some people come in here and there and that we meet that we're blessed and thankful for. But for the most part, we did everything ourselves, man. Like, the foundation that we built, the connections that we've made, we did it all ourselves, and it's great to look back on, man. Like, when we first arrived to Florida, we went to our little apartment, probably like a little bigger than this room, with our son in the middle. You know, we just drove like 28, 30 hours, and like we arrive and there's like 3 bicycles circling our budget truck. It's like 4 a.m. We're like, yo, this is crazy. So I lock everything up. We go into our apartment and we just started crying, like, yo, what are we doing? This is the first night, like, what are we doing? Turns out we were in the biggest gang in Lake Worth at that time, top 6. They all lived in that area, and that was kind of their like their hood, you know. They never bothered us. They were really cool, but you know, we just had to get out of there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely humbling.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we got out of that place. We stayed there for a week, and you know, basically started over there.
So $700 to now you're just built a, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's your forever home, but you know, you have that backyard for the kids now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, we can laugh about it now, but you know, even times in Woonsocket here in Florida, you know, when we were just looking to make ends meet, so we know how far we've come and how hard we both work to make sure that our kids are all set.
That's awesome, and you know, like we look at our parents different now that we're older.
Oh, for sure.
So when your
yeah.
kids get older, you know, these are the things that they're really gonna be able to like speak highly about. So it's pretty cool seeing it. You know, and the story's not over. Obviously, like you got a big fight in 2.5 weeks here. You know, get that hand raised. And,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man. We always say get that second check, and then bring
That's
bigger
it.
toys home for the kids.
Yes, that second check is what we fight for sure, man. So it's very rewarding.
Jamie, so obviously we know how Tyson felt about before meeting you.
Gosh.
What did you feel about him before meeting him?
You know what? When I look back at remembering Tyson, you know, from the Sityodtong days and him fighting, and then always in the corner from other fighters, and then I also remember him in Rob Font's corner when Andre fought him. Maybe there was a bitter
Rematch this Saturday.
But you know, I always liked Tyson. I always had respect for him. He was always we didn't ever know each other too well, but we would always see each other in passing, always say hi to each other. And I think like once we you know spoke a few times, we definitely had mutual respect for each other. You know, like he's explained before, and I'm sure you know everyone feels this way. As you know, a manager or people in the MMA industry, people are really looking to kind of screw you, you know what I mean? And to be honest in this industry is very hard to come by. So, you know, we've interviewed like 5 other managers, and we knew right away when we had a connection with Tyson, it was important to go with the person that was like-minded to me. And it was a push and pull kind of thing. Like I wanted to let Andre go, but I still wanted to do some things. I wanted to let him go, but then, you know, I wanted to focus on, you know, me professionally. So I think we went with the right choice. And Tyson is most likely like me, and it's important that he's in good hands. So we still help each other out, and like we said, we bounce each other off. But I don't think I'm that intimidating. I mean, I do have a resting bitch face, but I think I'm a pretty cool person.
Yeah, and I like that answer. However, what I was really looking for was he is a big wimp, and I'm going to dominate him.
Nice. That's been good. It's been. I think it's been a cool journey so far, and
Yeah, man.
I'm excited about like just strengthening everything. It's been fun.
We got a good team going for sure.
Sure. For sure.
All right, thanks Jamie for dialing in from Florida. I know you got a busy schedule there at work, but we appreciate you contributing to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, baby.
And I think now we got my wife. We're gonna shift gears a little bit on the other side of the glass. She's got some. I think she's gonna start out with some MMA news, and then we'll go into some questions that people have for the Asian sensation.
Nice.
Hi, Andre.
Hi, Sarah.
So, TJ Dillashaw, he fails a drug test and relinquishes his belt. What are your thoughts on PEDs?
Man, it's crazy because he was complaining about losing the fight and about it being stopped so early, but he's over there on PEDs, you know. I don't like it, of course. You know, even Sean O'Malley got popped with some stuff after we fought. And there should be a huge penalty for it, you know. Take some money away from these guys or something, because if they end up winning the fights, you know, they're taking the money away from their opponents that they just defeated, but they're on PEDs. So it needs to be erased. I mean, I think the UFC is doing a great job so far with it because they're obviously popping these guys. But, man, there's no need for it, man. Why? You're already so talented, so skilled. You know, you got like an advantage on most people with your wrestling background and your experience, and you're already the champ. But why are you gonna do it, man? You know.
So for those of you that might be watching that aren't super into MMA, the way that the UFC does drug testing is they contract with USADA. So Andre has like an app on his phone, and he has to update it wherever you go. So right now, USADA could come and knock on this door, and he'd have to submit to a drug test. 24/7, 365. Every athlete under contract has to do it, and they get tested just randomly, you know.
Just
and then
randomly.
at fights, they get tested for a litany of banned substances, and if they pop positive, then there's different rules and suspensions and lengths of terms that they're gonna be suspended for.
Exactly.
And you know, because you know PEDs used to be pretty rampant. Like it was kind of like the joke of like everybody's on them, but you know, just don't get caught. And now you're starting to see a lot of fighters that do test positive. Now some are honest mistakes, like you know they did actually have a tainted supplement, or they took the wrong Sudafed, which has a banned substance in it. The maliciousness wasn't there, but
I don't get that either. You know, like, because if I have a nutritionist and I have people on my team that I can go to and be like, hey, is this okay to take? That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like TJ Dillashaw, he should have a nutritionist. He should have a big team with that, you know. He probably has a team trying to hide it. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And like that's my take on it too. Like, yeah, some of it could be mistakes, honest mistakes, but if you're somebody like TJ Dillashaw or you know, these bigger name guys that make more money and stuff like that, then we all know that you have a nutritionist. You have somebody on your team that can tell you what to take and what not to take and what's okay to take.
Now, in Major League Baseball, the NFL, they actually have, I don't know who they contract with, but they have a hotline that they can call and say, hey, I'm looking at taking this. Do you guys have that?
No, we don't.
No.
so we have the
but we can call the USADA guy and be like, hey, is this okay to take? And
I do that.
yeah, I guess we kind of do.
Yeah, we have Donna Marcoloni
Yeah.
and Jeff Nowitzki who we can like text or call and say, hey, listen, my guy's got a cold. He's thinking about taking this. And they'll say, have you looked at, you know, Global Drug? There's a website you can look at to look at all the symptoms. But they know it so much better than I do that sometimes if it's a big, like a new thing, that I'll call them and I'll just say, hey, what about this? And then I also work pretty closely with Perfecting Athletes. And they'll answer whatever questions I have because they have more scale than I do, where they've been through it a lot. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so anytime, you know, I just had a fighter last week that was, you know, cutting weight, and he's like, hey, what can I take for a cold? And so you look at certain things because now you're trying to not have it affect the weight cut, but you also want to make sure it's not illegal. So, you know, and then fighters that get injured during a fight, the next day they want to take X, Y, or Z. We just try to make sure we sign off on it. And so I always advise my guys, like, don't take anything. Anything that's questionable, just ask me. And then any sort of supplements that you're taking, like ideally we want them to be NSF certified, which means that they've been tested by an independent laboratory to make sure that what's on the label is what's in the supplements, because the supplement industry is not regulated by the FDA. So you could put that, hey, this is just pure protein, but it could be laced with testosterone, in which case then you'd fail a test. And the way the USADA rules work with you guys is anything that you put into your body, you're responsible for. So even if it's a tainted supplement, yeah, they might take that batch and test it and then reduce your sessions, but it's still illegal.
Yeah.
So you really are responsible for anything that goes by your lips or gets rubbed on your skin or anything like that. So, you know, you guys have to be cognizant of that 24/7, and you know, it's a full-time, you know, awareness that you have to have.
So how long? So if you did have to ask somebody, how long does it take for them to get back to you regarding, you know, if something should be taken or not?
I think the most it's ever taken Donna. I texted Donna the other day. It was like 7:30 in the morning here, and she was in Vegas. I thought she was in Nashville, but she wasn't. So I texted her like 7:30, so it was 4:30 in the morning in Vegas. And she's like, "Hey, sorry, you know, it's 4:30 here. I'll check the email when I get to the office." And then I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad." But she's like, "Hey, my phone's always on." She's like, "Because I don't ever want to miss these text messages." And I was like, "You're probably one of the few people that can really understand my pain then, because my phone's always on."
Yeah.
But they're pretty accessible. You know, they might have meetings or whatever. But if I send an email to Jeff Nowitzki, he's pretty good at replying fairly quickly.
Yep.
So there's really not a big lag time, generally.
Is Jeff Nowitzki a very famous person that we all should know?
He's the guy that busted Lance Armstrong back in the day.
Yeah.
And what does he get the nickname? The Golden Snitch?
Golden Snitch, yeah.
But, you know, he's a nice guy. You know, he's a family guy, too. He's got kids, and obviously he's got a tough job. I wouldn't want it, because your job is to kind of, like, counsel the fighters, but then if they pop, you're trying to investigate and figure out what happened. And, you know, if you go too hard on them, then all the fighters are going to hate on you. But if you don't go hard, then everybody's going to think you're trying to cover it up. So he's kind of got a thankless job. Like, either the fighters or the fans are always going to be mad at him. So I wouldn't want that job. But it is wild how much, you know, 24/7 you guys have to be ready to go.
For sure.
What is the earliest or oddest time that you've gotten them showing up at your house?
Oh, they showed up one time, like at 7 a.m. in my house. That was probably the weirdest part. Like, now they do a pretty good job. They'll just show up at the training session and get a whole bunch of us, you know. But yeah, when it was like 7 a.m., I was like, who's at my doorbell? You know what I mean? And it was them. I was just like, it was like one of my first times, so I was like, oh, I'm a big shot now. You know? I just get signed to the UFC, I'm cool, and they want to test me, okay. Because, you know, when I wasn't in the UFC, you know, I trained with a lot of guys that were in the UFC down in the Black Zillions, and I see all these guys getting tested, and I remember telling one of those guys, like, hey, you're going to test me one day. And he just walked away. That same guy came to my house 7 a.m. and tested me, so.
Nice.
It is, you know, hopefully they're doing a good job about pushing the PEDs out, but I think it's something that they'll always have to struggle with. But
yeah, especially with the new tactics that they're seemingly using.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they were used in the TJ Dillashaw instance, but
yeah, we'll see how that pans out. So Sarah, I think you said you had questions.
Yep, some fan questions. Andre, what language do they speak in Laos, and do you speak it?
Yes, we have our own language, similar to the Thai language, you know, but it's a little different too. It's Laotian. That's what we call the language, Laotian. So do you speak Laotian? Yeah, I speak Laotian. You know, like that's how you ask somebody. So whoever's Lao somebody, be might coming up, you know what I'm saying? Bông Khnoi Tì Moi. Khop Chai La Life for all your support, and we're gonna go all the way, baby. I just said happy. We're gonna have a happy Lao New Year, because that's actually the weekend of my fight. So make sure everybody's watching, supporting, and we're gonna party. We're gonna go all the way.
Nice.
So I think you might have already touched on this a little bit, but you're from Rhode Island. How did you end up in Florida?
I got invited to train at the Black Zillions. One day, one of my good friends, Sean Soriano, he came up because he was already training in Florida with the Black Zillions, and we sparred. He beat me up pretty good, and I was just like, oh man. He was just like, hey, you know, you're welcome to come and train with us anytime. You can stay with me. And I took him on that offer. I went for like 2 weeks to train, just to try it out. I liked it, and I didn't just like the training. I mean, of course, there was, some pros and cons about leaving my team at that time, but at that time I needed training partners, and there wasn't much training partners my size at that time, so that was a big sell, going to train with Sean, because he's similar to my size, and other guys that are my size, getting sparring rounds in, getting a lot of rounds in. That's what I was looking for at that time, and that's why I moved. But I also like the lifestyle in Florida, being next to the beach, the weather, it was pretty cool, the palm trees. So we were like, you know what, let's try something new, and moved to Florida 5 years ago, and still there.
Is Sean also from Rhode Island?
Sean's from Rhode Island. Yeah, he's actually the first UFC fighter to be signed from Rhode Island. So he's not in the UFC right now. He's working his way back, but he was in the UFC and the first one to be signed out of Rhode Island.
He's so freaking good.
Yeah, so
like
good,
I think
man.
he's lost fights that he probably should have won.
Yeah,
you watch him move and you're like, I wish I could move like that. Like
when I see him in practice, you saw him practicing.
Yeah.
That, yes, and he has some of the best striking and in the world. I think that he'll do fine in glory or whatever if he wanted to. Even in MMA, man, I would still, to this day, always put him top 10. I'm always telling him, yo, I still think you're top 10. You still have that potential because
he's so smooth,
good, bro.
So smooth.
What weight division is he?
He's a 45er.
45er.
He's finding his niche as a coach now, too. He's kind
Yes,
of traveling
yes.
the world. He's cornering everybody.
Exactly. I think he's really enjoying what he's doing. So, he gets to travel the world. He gets to go to these UFC events. And, I know he's getting the itch to get back into the UFC, too. So, maybe he'll put some time in for himself, get a fight. And he's always training. You don't got to worry about the guy training. But, he's just... I think he can do it, if he puts a couple wins in together, and, hopefully we'll be on the same roster again.
Is he still training with you guys down there?
Yes.
And where is that?
It's at Hard Knocks 365. Shout out to my team in Florida, Hard Knocks 365. A lot of good, talented fighters over there. A lot of big names. It's good stuff.
All right. Who's your all-time favorite fighter, retired or current?
Ooh.
Oh man, that's a tough question. When I first started MMA, I always liked to watch Anderson Silva, just the way he fought and stuff. But then again, when we got caught with like the PEDs and stuff like that, my opinions about everything just changed. So now, I don't really just look at fighters for what they do in the octagon. I look at more now at what they do outside of the octagon, because I'm going to play my own fan. Who's my favorite fighter right now? It's me. It's myself. But when what I look up to in fighters is what they're doing outside the octagon. What kind of businesses they're running. How are they giving back? What kind of nonprofits they running? A guy like Anthony Pettis. He's still doing his thing. He's signing $1 million contracts with the UFC. He has 3 barbershops, a sports bar, and 3 taekwondo schools. That's what I want to be at one day. You know what I'm saying? I want to achieve things like that. So guys that not just good in the octagon, but they're doing big things outside the octagon that sets them up for life. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely.
You have the same answer as Brendo.
Yeah.
Andre Soukhamthath.
All right. So aside from fighting, do you have any other hobbies?
Since I have 2 boys now, my hobbies, literally when I'm at home, is just to chill with them, to have fun with them. If I'm playing video games, I'm playing with my son. If we're going out to the park or somewhere, it's just my fun is their fun. I have fun when I see my kids having fun. So my hobby is just hanging out with my family, man. Of course I like to drink beers, watch the fights, but I'm sure every man likes to do that, or else you're not a man.
Ouch, that hurts, Tyson.
You seem very proud of being the only fighter to represent Laos in the UFC, and you have a decent following. Do you have a lot of fans from Laos?
Yes, I do. It's just growing. I got a lot of American fans, Laotian American fans in America. a lot of Laos people from all everywhere, Canada, Australia, France, like even Laos now. Now that Laos is a communist country, so they're very limited at what access they get, but they do get to watch my fights. And Facebook is big there now, so they all follow my Facebook page and my Instagram, and it's hard for me to communicate with them because they type in Laos, but I can't write in Laos and read in Laos. But I just let them know, I'll just I'm like, if I get a lot of messages or DMs in Laos letters, I'll just put out a video talking Laos, just letting them know that I see it and I really appreciate the support. And keep supporting me because, I'm not going to be the last Laotian fighter to be fighting in the UFC. I'm just trying to open the doors for other Laotian fighters. And just representing, not just Laotians from all around the world, but Asians in general, Asian Americans. They have the same, a lot of them have the same story I did. Their family went through the same thing. And I'm just trying to represent the Asian culture, man, bringing out that culture and, introducing the Asian culture, making people respect our culture. A lot of people make fun of our culture and make fun of, where we come from and stuff like that. It's just an easy target. And I'm one of the guys that want to put a stop on that, the stereotypes and all that, And I think I'm doing it. I fight in a cage, So it's like.
And I actually think back to last March, we went out to Vegas to watch him fight. And, after the fight, we went out and you invited us to dinner. We were just I don't know if we want to go, but let's go because to support you and things like that. And, that had nothing to do with it, but it's like because obviously it's one of those things. We don't know if you want time with your family and stuff. And we go to this. Was it a?
Yeah, it was I don't know if it was Laotian owned, but it was definitely a fusion Asian cuisine about like they had the Thai flavors, the Chinese flavors, Japan flavors, Laos flavors. So it was like a little Asian fusion. District 1 in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and we get there and there's like 20 or 30 people there just sitting around and having dinner, and just hanging out, and it was great. It was an awesome time.
Yeah,
we were like the only non-Asians. I think.
We were honoring and they Asians loved you, and they loved you. Yeah,
and then they were telling us what to order because I was like, I don't know what any of the stuff is. There was like eggs floating in soups, and then they talked us into one of them had like a big.
I had a lobster in my soup.
Oh, yours was
that was me, lobster pho. That was really good, and
I had some pork belly or something. It was really good.
Yeah, yes, the Asian food, man. I love food. But yeah, man, Asians, we run deep. We run deep, and I'm just trying to put it out there like, yo, we need to stick together. Let's keep supporting each other no matter what it is, and represent hard.
All right. Well, last question coming from the control room. What are your thoughts on Conor McGregor retiring?
I think that's a smart move on his end. Like, even if he wanted to fight, he's the man with the money. He doesn't need to fight. He has a bunch of businesses going on. He's another guy, like, if he's tired of training, fighting, or if he's not getting what he wants or whatever is making him retire, he has 2 kids now. I think one's on the way, right? Like, then hey, man, you did it. You did it, you made it, you did more than you had to do, so if you feel like you want to hang him up, then that's fine. I'm sure he's still going to be in the mix, though, doing something with his businesses. So I'm happy for him. I'm honestly happy for him, man.
I will say this. It sounds like a negotiating tactic. And Dana said he's happy for him. He's got enough money. And the last time he said that, George St. Pierre fought like 6 months later. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. You never know with Conor, man. He's smart. He's very smart and crazy.
Until he gets out of USADA testing pool, there's always a possibility.
That's true. Nice observation, Brendo.
I try.
Brendo's the newsman.
Yeah.
He's the man.
He just trolls Twitter all day looking for highlights.
That's how I get my news.
I think that's all we got for you, Andre. Is there where can people find you on Instagram and?
Yeah, man. Guys, shoot me a follow on Instagram, Andre Souk MMA. Like my Facebook page. I put some cool things out on my Instagram. Into inspiration and stuff. I try to inspire people. Show a little bit of my training too. you might see Tyson and Brendo, you know, in the post or two, one or two. Yeah, man, and just thank you everybody for the support.
All right, thanks, guys.